Roll into today. I want to go ahead and introduce Kat. Kat is one of our graduates. She started our program 6 months ago, right? 6 months
Yep,
ago. You've
6 months.
already come through it and graduated. And just to lead in, as we start chatting, Catherine is, I'll let Catherine introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her background. But hey, JJ, one of the big things today I just want to share with you is I want you to hear her story and the success she's had and how the concept of implementing the process is really easy. And how if you just rinse and repeat what we teach and then just execute, how you can grow a massive business. We talked, Kat, the other day, and you were
Yeah.
shocked when we were like, let's talk about how much money you made. And you were like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at it like that yet. Kind of just
That's
was
amazing.
going
Well,
day by
first, before
day.
we get into all those
Yeah.
details, if you want to give a quick little backstory, why, you have been a nurse for a hot minute. Why did you decide now was the time to move into legal nurse consulting 6 months ago when you joined our team? What were you looking for? What was your motivation?
So I had just had my daughter and gone back to work after maternity leave. And I already was starting to be like, hey, I need to start drifting away from the bedside. But going back after taking that break away, I was like, oh my God, this is not, I need to find something else. It's not fulfilling anymore
It's
at
not
all.
fulfilling.
Mm-mm.
And what about it made you look into legal nurse consulting?
I was just looking at something I could do from home. But everything was boring until I got to legal nurse consulting. So I was like, oh, it's like a puzzle. So I liked that.
I love that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. A lot of us nurses like challenges, like puzzles. We like
Yeah.
decoding or one of the nurses said it's like things that are encrypted and we like decode and
Yeah.
encrypt things. So you came across us, you came across our mentorship, and what made you decide this program? I know there's a lot of courses. We talk about courses, we talk about mentorships.
Hmm.
Why this one?
I didn't want to just do a course where there was no feedback. I needed feedback because I was not confident. I didn't think I could start a business or succeed in a business at all, and especially this quick. Um, but I think it was the mentorship part and having your own success advisor, someone to hold your hand, and then also having the mindset part because I think I was lacking that and I didn't even know it.
Isn't that interesting how we
Yeah.
have so much confidence as nurses, but then when it comes to just us, it's like we lose. It's like it. I don't know. It's like it severs immediately. It's like, oh no, me by myself,
Yeah,
no. But what we can do, but we do it by ourselves every day as nurses.
but it's not nursing. It's not the same.
It's less than, right? It's actually easier.
Yeah.
So you joined our mentorship. You jumped in. Like, tell me your first thoughts coming in, right? Tell me what you were thinking.
I was overwhelmed to start. I remember reaching out. Ashley was my success advisor. And I remember messaging her and being like, oh my God. And
What
she's
did
like,
I
no, you
just
got
do?
it. Like, you got it. And, but after the first couple weeks, it was all like, you have to learn these terms. You have to learn, like, you have to understand these things. And then it became a lot more manageable. It wasn't unmanageable to begin with. It was like taking a class.
Hmm.
And then I think after the first couple of weeks, I got into a really good rhythm. I was able to knock out the practice cases, take care of the calls, do my videos. It was easy, and I was excited. I was
I
excited
love
to see
that.
what was next. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you got Kate, how soon into the mentorship? Because we get you marketing like week 4. So
Hmm.
we're not traditional, right? We teach you the marketing before we teach you how to write a report. First, share with the others. How did that make you feel?
I almost felt like I was lying about myself because I'm coming across. I'm like, oh, I'm a legal nurse consultant, and they're like, what do you do? And I was like, hold on a second. But it almost felt like I was putting out this front about myself.
Hmm. And
But
what
then
did
as
you
soon as, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no go? So what did you learn about that though? So we do market before we market before we actually do a report because the
Mm-hmm.
report part is it tends to be easy once we
It's
realize how to
easy.
just craft that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do it very backwards. I do it very non-traditional because I want you to grow your business. Hey John, so you felt like you were fronting, right? But what did you learn in
Hmm.
mindset that helped you realize that wasn't the case?
They're like, you're a nurse. You've been doing this forever. I mean, this is nothing. It's just putting it in a different format.
Yeah.
And so, but when I started talking to people, I'm like, oh yeah, I do this. I do this all the time. I've been doing it. It's not new.
It's not new. And that
Mm-mm.
familiarity started coming back once you got in conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You got your first case. How did that feel?
That felt amazing. I was like, oh my God, now I get to do it.
Yeah.
But he loved my work product, which thank God we have the avatars.
That's
Um,
awesome.
mhm.
Yeah, he gave you amazing. Share it with them. I mean, I remember you telling me you're like, oh my gosh, and the feedback was amazing. So yeah, tell us what he said.
He told me he's been working with one nurse risk manager for, I think he said 20 years.
20 years you've
And
been working with a
yeah.
nurse risk manager. Okay.
So he showed me on our Zoom what he has been getting from her and what he expects. And then I showed him my sample and he's like, oh. And he's like, okay, so err on the side of detail for me. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I sent him back a report and he was like, this is not even in the same universe as the other one. I was like, oh, so he liked it a lot. And
That's
he sent quite a few
amazing.
more. Mm-hmm.
And now, who's the nurse attorney that you also have who's like unbelievably impressed with your reports?
Oh yes, yeah. He told me he doesn't work with nurses because he's a nurse, and so everything he's done so far he's had to redo. So it's like it's a waste of my time, it's a waste of their time. And then I told him just to let me try. Let
Yeah.
me. I discounted him too. I'm like, just for fun and games, let me try. And I
Uh-huh.
sent it back, and he was like, okay, yes. He's like, I will send you more. I like this a lot. I don't have to fix it. Yeah.
A nurse attorney. So we're talking about an attorney who's also a nurse who had that belief, like I always have to fix things, always have to redo them.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this in the beginning you would have never thought that's my ideal client? You would have never thought. And
I
now
never ever would have reached out to him. Yeah.
your belief is different.
Yeah. Now I see nurse attorneys all the time and I'm like, oh, that's what I want. That is who I want to go to.
That's amazing. And I love that. I love that. So you were able to get amazing feedback. You were able to use our templates, right? You used our marketing templates, you used the case sample templates, you crafted your practice avatars or your practice cases, created your own work product, and were able to give amazing feedback and get amazing feedback from those attorneys. I love that the nurse attorney said, now I'll use you. It was like,
Yeah.
it was well worth his time to take that opportunity. I also love that you used that strategy. You were like, you have nothing to lose. Let me give it a shot.
Yeah, let me just try.
Yeah. I love that. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. So how many cases had you had by the time you left the program?
I think I had the third one rolling in when I left
Yeah.
the program.
And now you're just shy of 6 months out of the program, and you've had how many?
I've had 12. And
12
I got
cases.
number 13. I closed right before this call.
Oh, there we go. That's fantastic. You and I did our scale up call before you left. I do it with everybody. And what we basically on those calls, just for those who are listening and who don't know, our scale up calls are really strategically placed at the end of the mentorship so that people like Kat, every nurse comes in and basically it's like, what have you done? And now let's take those actions and let's blueprint it out. And let me, if Stephaney was in Kat's business, what would I go do? How would I go make this money for the next 3 months? What steps would I take? That feedback, that call that we had, how did that help you? And how has that helped you through these last few months?
It gave me a scale up plan because at the time I had the 3. And you're like, okay, let's hit 4 this month. And then next month, let's hit 6. And then following, let's hit 8. And I was like, okay, that sounds so achievable and I can keep building it, but I've surpassed it. So it gave me kind of a blueprint to then implement over and over and over.
I love that. And we break it down because it's like, we break it down because it's like, okay, Kat, what you're doing is working here. Go rinse and repeat this, right? Or double down and execute and do double of X if you have the time, and you'll produce double the results. So, how did that element help you implement perspective and time management so that you could go execute?
It kind of gave me, it just gave me like a blueprint. So I wasn't trying to sit there and spend my time trying to figure out how do I go find a new client? How do I do this on my own now that I don't have the mentorship? But it was all right there. And I've done the 100 connections sprint again a couple times since then. And it brings in this whole new network and all these new people that again, our nurse attorneys are my ideal clients, and I'm able to market myself so much more confidently to them too.
I
But
love
it's
that.
just having a plan. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing your ideal client. Those are like words. And so many nurses strive to
Yeah.
achieve, like, what is my ideal client? When you find it, you just know. You just know.
Hmm.
So, so we're on case number 13. You told me when we discovered on, like when we chatted earlier this week, you've made all of your money back from your investment in the mentorship and you're in pure profit mode at this point. You told me you were like in 5 figures of profit mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you realize you're like, oh my God, I've made more than $10,000 profit, pure profit in less than 6 months using the same method.
Hmm.
That's insane. That's amazing.
It
Congratulations.
feels surreal. Thank you.
And you just did something else. You made
Crazy.
another huge move. What did you just do?
I just quit my job, my bedside job.
So
Yeah.
you set out on
Yeah.
a journey 6 months ago. You
Hmm.
are now well on your way and will probably clear the 6 figures by the end of this year. You'll be well into 6 figures. And in less than 6 months have made your money back in the investment and almost actually time and a half, right? You're like time and a half making your money back in the investment.
Yeah.
You've quit your job. You're now staying home full time with your baby. And just six
Yeah.
months ago, you made this decision.
Yes.
Isn't it
I
crazy to
never would have
reflect back?
thought. Yeah. I thought it would take me a couple years. I didn't think it would be within
You
six
thought
months.
you thought it would take you a couple years to get to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't know. It was like I had no clue how to run a business. And I didn't expect that we would get so much from the mentorship regarding running a business too. So I thought
So
that was
that's
something I would have to do myself.
Yeah, so that's I think
Yeah.
I think that's actually what makes us very different from a lot of other mentorships is we don't just teach you how to be a legal nurse. We want you to actually start and grow a business. I want you to
Yeah.
make money while you're in the mentorship. And you did just that. And if you use the program we have, if you follow the process, all you have to do is take the process, put it into action, then rinse and repeat it. And you have your
Hmm.
advisors, like you said. I mean, here's another example. I've had some nurses say, well, how many times can I talk to my advisor? What would you say?
Any day. I mean, Ashley's like, I'm going on vacation, but you can text me, you can call me. I mean, even after I finished the mentorship, she's like, if there is anything that you just aren't sure, she's like, you can send me a message. It doesn't matter. Everybody's so supportive. And even in the group calls, the mentors I didn't work with personally still would give me feedback.
That's
So they're all
amazing.
accessible. Hmm.
That's amazing. And I think that makes a huge difference too to know like there's not we have a minimum. Like we minimally need to talk to you once a month. Minimal. But
Hmm.
there's not like a max. It's like what do you need and we're here for you. We have and run our businesses, so what do you need? What you take what we have, implement the process and even if you don't know the questions, right? When were you stuck and you didn't even know what to ask?
Uh, Probably in the middle of month two, I
Yeah.
think I was doing all my messaging, and I just wasn't getting bites at all. And Ashley's like, okay, let's book a Zoom and let's go together through all your messages. We'll share the screen. And we just revamped everything that I was doing. And as soon as we did, it was getting like bite after bite after
Just like
bite.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Just like
hasn't
that. Yeah.
stopped.
And it hasn't stopped. No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, I love hearing this. This is the whole reason why
Yeah.
we do this. This is the whole reason. So if you could, you're looking back 6 months. 6 months ago, you made this life-changing decision where you're like, I'm going to invest in myself. Like, it's scary, right? It's like buying a house. Some people compare it to that. They're like, oh my gosh, this makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
But would you say you regret anything? Would you say you would have done anything any different?
No. Maybe sooner, but not differently. Yeah.
Hindsight, right? It's always like
Yeah.
if I'd have known then what I know now, I would have done this sooner.
Yes. Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the fear that stops us in our tracks. What kind of advice would you give someone related to that? Related to someone who's like, but what if I lose? But what if I fail? But what if I don't make my money back? All the but what ifs. What kind of advice would you give them?
All of that went through my head after I had a call with you guys the first time. And I sat down and I made a pros and cons list and went through everything I didn't like about being at the bedside versus what I could gain and what I could possibly lose. And it was like my list of what I hated versus what I could possibly lose. It was a no-brainer when you put it next to each other.
No
That
brainer.
was, yeah, it was a no-brainer.
And even
You could
now,
lose something, but I mean, the amount you gain.
the amount you gain. And now
Yeah,
reflecting 6 months back, you're like, even even more reason
even
why.
better. Yeah, yes.
So you just had a baby 6
Mhm.
months ago, went back to work, and now you have you're in the 5 figures, made your money back, well on your way to your 6 figures. You are left the bedside in just 6 months. That's huge. I mean, I remember doing the same thing. And I think that's why it's so inspiring because it's a tough decision. It's almost like a breakup.
It is. Yeah, with a toxic relationship.
And I know when we
Yes,
say it like that, again, it sounds like it should be easy, but it's so hard.
it's hard.
I think because we have this false sense of like security, right? We're like, but that's where I can rely on money. What would you say about that now? Having worked with our mindset team, because we all
Hmm.
have money blocks, and I think as nurses, none of us realize that. Like, we have incredible money blocks, and none of us realize. What would you say? What would you tell everybody? You know, sorry, I'm moving my desk up and down. What would
No,
you
you're
tell
okay.
everybody? Related to the mindset team and how they help you work through some of those blocks.
That was another, our weekly calls were amazing. It was always new topics that I didn't even realize was the block for me most of the time. But then I would schedule with Sabrina just as much as I wanted to. And she would help me walk through these blocks. And money blocks did come up, and I didn't even know that that was the problem at the time. I thought I just was afraid to leave the bedside, afraid to leave something I've been doing for so long, the familiarity. We got down to know it was the money.
But,
Yeah.
but
And then
it's the
we,
security. It's like this false sense of
yeah,
security where we're like dependent on someone else paying us. What kind of like now that you've officially left the bedside, how do you feel about the money? Like the security aspect. Do you feel more secure or do you feel less? Do you feel leery? Like what's that emotion?
I feel more secure because it's from me. It's my own money. I'm the boss of it. And if I want to make more right now, I can do my little sprint and I know how to get the clients. I know how to push for more cases. I know how to push them respectfully. Um, but I feel like I have control over how to increase it. And if
Yeah.
there's a time when it's slower, I know how to repeat the whole process that I did.
And how much do you charge an hour?
150.
150. Do
Mm-hmm.
you plan on raising that?
My ideal client, my nurse attorney told me I should.
Your nurse attorney, you mean the one who said, I don't use legal nurse consultants, has now told you you should raise your price.
Yes, yes, he did. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love that. I love hearing that. Good for you.
Thank you.
This is
Yeah,
exciting. So what's in the future? What's in the future? Where do you want to take this business?
I want to keep growing, but I want to pull in some subs.
Some
I'm
stuff.
hoping my goal is April. Not I'm hoping it will happen in April is when I want to at least have my first sub and be able to take back my time. Yeah.
And create your perfect
Yeah.
day. So that,
Yes.
we do this perfect day assignment for a reason, right? We do it in the very beginning of the mentorship. And now I think now is when it really becomes reality where you're like, okay, I am act like that is not just a dream.
No, it's not.
And
It's
that kind
not.
of clarity, the kind of clarity you have in your perfect day, do you see yourself implementing that every single day? Do you see yourself moving towards and having that kind of freedom?
Yes, I see myself spending. I remember doing my perfect day, and my advisor was like, "No, more detail, more detail." She's like, "I want to know exactly what it looks like." And I got so detailed, and I have it framed by my desk actually right now because it's so inspiring. It's so powerful. But I feel like I'm getting that quality time again with my family. I'm getting to do the things I like to do. I started baking again. I love to bake and gardening. Yeah, I have time to do these things. I'm not exhausted. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah. And then my biggest part of it was I wanted to move. I wanted to get out of this little town that we're in and move, but we weren't able to do it yet. But now the goal is we're putting our house for rent. We're going to move in April. It's like, it's all, yeah, it's all coming together. It's
Oh,
crazy.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you've been wanting to move. You're putting your house for rent, moving in April. You're going to get a sub in April. You have you
Hmm.
have hobbies you didn't even know you had.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the same way. Listen, I discovered I love puzzles, and my husband laughs at me because, like, in my world, puzzles are like a holiday thing, right? My family and our
Hmm.
families and friends, we do puzzles around the holidays, but I love them all the time. And my husband's like, I mean, you're looking, I'm like, I want like a 10,000 piece puzzle. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, hobbies, right? Because he just looks at me like, when do
Yeah.
you have time to sit down? I was like, oh, it's like in my schedule. I mean, after I get off this call tomorrow, I have 2 hours blocked. I'm puzzling.
Amazing. Yes.
But isn't that, but we don't even think as nurses, like, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just me and you about having hobbies because the hobby, I mean, I think I felt like when I was a nurse, I was so emotionally exhausted. There was no time for me. I was
No.
like the aftermath. It was like get a massage because my back hurts and I need one versus I
Hmm.
want to be pampered. It was a very different
Yep.
like concept.
And the days off, I felt like I was playing catch up too with the days
Yeah.
that I was working. Yeah.
How old's your baby now?
She's 1 and 3 months, I think. A
One
little
and three
over one.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how, I mean, how do you feel about now having the ability to show your little girl, like, you know, you don't have to work for someone else. You can give yourself permission to create any lifestyle you want.
It's empowering. Yeah.
I love this. How about your spouse? What does he think?
He loves it. He's the ICU nurse also. So he's asking, it's like, so when can I hop on this with you?
When can I work for you, babe? When can I
Yes.
do
Yes.
this?
Yes.
That's fun. No, we've had some amazing couple teams. Amazing couple teams, truly. And it's a lifestyle they've created. One of the couple teams, they traveled, they sold their home, bought a giant
Oh,
RV, and they travel and they have 2 kids. And that's what they do full time and they love it because they can work from anywhere. And they're just, yeah, they're always in someplace different. I know.
yeah.
I love that. I love it for them. What are your you said your goals are to grow a sub. What else would you say? We have so many nurses sitting here listening in thinking, wow. And let me read some of the comments, Kat. They're like, congratulations, wow, this is so
Wow.
inspiring. I love that an attorney nurse told you to raise your price. Congratulations. Think about me for subcontractor work. You're so inspiring. One says I'm struggling with marketing, especially with most marketing in the online realm now. So she's asking for suggestions. And this is a great one, Kat. What would you say to someone who says they struggle with marketing and they struggle with technology?
My biggest thing was I was putting out there what I thought people wanted to hear, what I thought these attorneys wanted to hear. And when we went through my messaging, Ashley was like, this isn't you. Like,
Yeah.
you're right, it's not me. And I don't know what they want to hear. I just have my perception of what they want to hear. But they would so much rather just talk to a person. So I would say be yourself. And that is what I've done to get all my clients too. It's just a conversation. You're not trying to sell something. You're just, hey, let me meet you. Let me show you what I can do. Let's hear about what you can do. Like, it's a personal connection. And then they trust you and they want to work with you. Yeah.
What about the tech side? We have a lot of nurses, and you see this in the group calls.
Mhm.
They feel like they're tech challenged. I think we all kind of, if it's not an EMR, we're like, ooh, I don't know. This is a whole new world. Like, I don't know, like social media and all marketing and like marketing and then add tech and add social media on top of it. All in that in combination, we teach you guys how to follow that
Mhm.
process. If you could give any advice to anyone who's maybe thinking like that, because I know you said you felt similar in the beginning too, with that sense of overwhelm.
Mhm.
What kind of advice would you give them?
You guys did such a good job showing how to use LinkedIn and how to message and share and just the whole everything about LinkedIn. And then some people pulled in the algorithms. There's so much about it, but I think you guys did a really good job just breaking it down and making it super, super simple. And then there
Awesome.
was always somebody, if we were stuck, you could send a little message and they would
Yeah,
answer right away. Yeah.
that's awesome. What about the idea of marketing yourself?
Oh, that was scary.
Yeah. What do we like?
Yeah.
We have stuff in the mentorship and we have the mindset team that help you work through that. So we give you
Hmm.
lessons for those listening in. We give you lessons to help because every one of us goes through this. This is a sticking point. So we all get stuck here because it's like, oh, it's icky. It feels icky. But we dig into the belief system of why it feels icky. And it has a lot to do with our self-worth, doesn't it?
It does.
Being told for so long we're only worth this and you're only a nurse and this is where you live, to then realize that you can charge now more than $150 an hour. It's been recommended by your own attorney clients, to working for yourself, to realizing your worth, to being able to make six figures, work from home, retire your husband, quit your job.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's
But
surreal.
the marketing was hard to start, but after the mindset and talking with my coach one-on-one, we got to like, I remember crying talking to her. We got into some nitty-gritty where my self-worth issues came from. And she gave me things to do. I was journaling every day. I still journal every day, but it was a whole, I was like uncovering all these things I didn't even realize were there. But now even like my husband is like, you are so much more confident. And it's not just in my business and in my marketing, it's in everything.
So these beliefs are so deep rooted in our core, like you're saying, we just don't even know they exist until, and it shows in a self-sabotage kind of manner. We will belittle ourselves. We will, not believe in our self-worth. We will sabotage before we get to something. And all those things are uncovered. Well, they're not all uncovered. Sometimes they're uncovered when we're trying to set out and market ourselves. And then, like you said, once you realize I can work through these things, because we don't leave you hanging. We're not like, you're self-sabotaging, go fix it. We're like, here's some tools, here's what we do. Here's how to manage this. And so I think that helps too. That's a big thing, is we give you things to actually do, to execute, to work on, to work through. We don't just leave you like, stuck.
No.
There's not like and it's not one of those like, just chant a bunch of mantras and be positive. I feel like mindset's such a cliche kind of concept.
Yeah, it's not that at all.
No, Natalie and her team are amazing. Amazing.
Yeah,
I know. We can't even say it out loud. They're so amazing. I know Kat and I are whispering they're amazing, but they really are. Like there's a point where, and I recognize this in my business, where I knew I could do it, but I knew I was standing in my own way. And my coach and working on my mindset actually became the thing that made me successful.
It was like a flip, like a light switch in my brain when we figured it out.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you overcame all the marketing challenges, all the tech challenges, all the fears. Yes. So what's your new fear? You've overcome so many, right? You're in this place of it's surreal and I can actually dare to dream again. I can dare to dream big. What's the newest fear? If you want to be vulnerable, what's the newest fear?
My newest one, and this is kind of silly, is because I've been taking on more and more, I'm getting these funky work hours where I'm awake at 6 a.m. and then I'm being present throughout the day. I'm working while my baby naps, and then I'm working after she goes to bed. So my newest fear was not being able to get the support that I needed to be able to handle these things. Yeah. So I've been working on asking for help. Yeah. For the volume.
So your new fear became, now I'm growing and have so much work that how am I going to keep up? Yeah. And keep my lifestyle. And you said earlier in the call, you wanted to buy back your time. Mm-hmm. You're ready to take back some of that time and hire a sub. So, but that's amazing because there's solutions. That's exactly how I grew. That's exactly part of it, is bringing on full-time team members, and you can help support them and they support you, and you create an invaluable network, a dynamic that offers more value, all done from the comfort of your own home. You don't even have to leave. You just said, and I got to point this out to everybody. She just said she works in the morning. She works when her baby naps. She works when her baby goes to bed. She has ultimate flexibility to work when you want and to actually be with your child.
The rest of the day. Yeah.
For the rest of the day.
Crazy.
I know. When did it sink in? When did, like, you quit, you just quit your job. Do you feel like you're still on vacay, or is it like, I really have quit and this is it?
I think it was building up for a while. I was ready to quit. But it took a couple weeks after I did.
Yeah.
I think talking to you the other day was kind of the boom, we actually did it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I had the same thing. It took me about a month because I was like, I'm on vacation, and I'm like, I'll be like, there was always this when
I
I
have to go back. Yeah.
go back, yeah, like look at like you just did, looking around the corner, like when's the next day that I work, and then it just kind of hit me one day where I was like, okay, I don't actually have to do that anymore at all,
Yeah. Ever.
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 Fantastic. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you, Kat, hopping on a call. I'm so thrilled with where you are. I know everyone on the team is super excited. I know you're still active in the VIP group, sharing your wins, sharing your successes. So if you're part of our program, you know, she's an alumni, so you'll see her in there. That's the best part. Staying active in our networking group, and that's something we didn't really even mention is that you just get plugged into like this plug and play active network of legal nurse
Yes.
consultants.
It's amazing. I
Yeah.
needed experts for a case and I just topped something over there and so many people answered. And
Yeah.
I got to vet these experts and send them to my attorney and he was so excited. But it's crazy the resources. Anybody has a question and somebody's got an answer.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I love it. So in addition to coaching you and helping you grow a business and helping you make all that money back, right? And then some, put you on your way to your perfect day, growing even beyond. Now you're ready to start scaling. You get plugged into a built-in network of legal nurse consultants that supports you, guides you, and you can even subcontract to or some subcontract from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Success advisors. Any advice? Oh, Desiree says thanks. Great questions. Thank you, Desiree. Thank you. So what advice would what do you want to say to those sitting on the call? What do you want to tell them if they're sitting in fear, or maybe they felt like you. They were just like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is wearing on me. This isn't my future.
I think my biggest fear and what held me back the longest from making the jump was time management and
Okay.
how will I work from home with a baby?
Hmm.
Like, how do I ask for help? How do I have support? But it's empowering once you make the jump. And if you really are fed up with the bedside, I think that's enough to spur you to make the jump
Yeah.
if this is the right field for you. But I think this was the perfect program to give me the confidence, to give me support from other people who've already done it and who are actively doing it. And then I grew my confidence so much I was able to feel empowered asking for help, to be able to manage my time, to be able to work from home. It wasn't like I felt like I was stooping to have to ask for help. It was more like these people want to help me because they believe in me too. That was my hardest part was having to ask
That's
for help.
a huge shift,
Yeah.
though. It is a huge shift. Asking for help as nurses at the bedside, it's like almost interpreted as a weakness.
Yeah.
But when you ask for help as a legal nurse, it's not because you can't handle it. It's because you have the power to choose how many hours you want to work. And
Yeah.
I love it because I now get to help others. So when I ask them for help, if I'm asking for support, if I'm asking for someone else to come on, I love the idea of subs because I get to market them, market their specialty, and then in return, they get to help me grow a business, get to make money, get to work from home. They get to live a lot of the same qualities. And,
Yeah.
and it's like giving them permission to say you can be free too. You can have the power to choose. You can own your time. You can truly take control of your life.
You can be free too. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved that. It was a big accomplishment for me to go from 2 to 5 subs when I did it. And it was amazing. And I loved it. I remember every moment and I loved it. So if that inspires you at all, like when you get to that point, it's
Yes.
so nice to be able to grow your team, grow your specialties, and work with people who are as passionate, caring, and considerate as you are, and nobody gets shafted, right? No one's getting the short end of the stick. There's no scarcity. It's not like if you make more I make less. Like there is none of that.
No.
There's so much. That's another thing. We'll answer this. So many nurses say, but I live in an area, legal nursing is flooded, the field's flooded, I see it online. What would you say to something like that? Someone who says, I see legal nurses all over LinkedIn, they're everywhere.
They are, but do they have your niche is one thing. I remember one of my clients, he told me he gets messages from nurses all day, every day. I was like, okay, that's what I did. Why did you answer me? And he was like, well, you had a different niche. I needed that critical care. I do rapid response too. So he's like, I needed that rapid response with the malpractice cases. Um, and he said also you were treating me like a person and not like the other end of the screen. So, and also all these other ones, we don't know if they're active. Are they advertising for new clients? You don't know where they're at.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I noticed too when I came into the field was, I was a part of this directory. I was actually looking for subs and I called like 20 plus people in that directory and none of them were active in their business. And I was like, I need a subcontractor. Back in 2015, Facebook and LinkedIn, all this stuff wasn't as prominent. Like it was a search, it was a chore. There wasn't like an online network. So that was something I had early on discovered too, is just because they have a profile doesn't mean they're active, doesn't mean they're pursuing. Mm-hmm. And just because they're messaging doesn't mean, just like you said, he talked to you because you treated him like a person and because you followed our 7 keys and you figured out a way to distinguish yourself from the crowd. We can get turned down by 1,000 attorneys. You can hear attorneys online say, don't message me. We get messages all day long, this and that. I've had nurses say what you teach doesn't work. And it does work. It's just, if you stop when someone tells you to, they're not your ideal client. Stay in pursuit of your ideal client because that's who you'll connect with. That's the person that will answer you on the other end. It's the person who sees you as a person, who takes interest in you and your specialty. Every nurse has an ideal client. Every one of us. That's why, I don't believe in competition. I say that all the time. I said, there's no way we're in competition. None of us are the same.
No. And you can also, I've grown so much. I've learned so much from other nurses on LinkedIn too. We'll bounce ideas. They've become friends.
Yeah.
It's not competition. Yeah. It's empowering when they post about a win. It doesn't make you feel less. Yeah.
It's like, it almost it's empowering and it's like this network that can grow together.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I'm so glad that I want to share some of that because these are some of the things that other nurses will be like, yes, but you know what I mean? And when I talk to them, there's times where I'm like, I wish I could give you a glimpse into what it's really like, into what the real world is like, into what really happens. So I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you sharing your success. I know everyone on the other end is cheering, loves hearing your story. And I do appreciate your time. Congratulations. Are you growing your family anymore?
No, not right now.
No. This one?
No.
It took me all of, I don't know, a year and a half. And then I was like, okay, let's have another one.
Oh, I'm hitting that mark.
I did. It happened quick. It was, I was like, let's do it. Let's have another one. He was like, whoa. He did the same thing. Whoa. And I was like, yeah, but we have like 9 months, remember? And he's like, oh, we'll totally be ready by 9 months. And there he was 9 months later. That's fantastic. Any other last minute words you want to share with anyone on the call? Anything you want to say?
I don't think so. I think we talked about everything.
Just do it, right? 6 months ago, if you could tell the cat 6 months ago what you knew now, that's what you would say.
Yes, just do it. Yeah.
Just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. And don't take no for an answer.
And I think, and love that. And I think just trusting ourselves. We became nurses and we saved lives. Like, are we really good at failing? Not really.
No, we're not.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be a nurse, right? I love that. Natalie says, congrats on all the success. It's definitely is empowering to think about. Pat says, congratulations. Zedra said, this is amazing. And Desiree's thanking us for chatting and asking all the questions. I love it. I love you guys. I'm so excited we got to share this. We'll send you guys out the replay, so be on the lookout for that. Kat, congratulations again. And I'll be talking to you later, I'm certain, as you expand and grow your business. And I'll see you inside the VIP group.
Thank you, Stephaney.
All right, girl. We'll chat soon.
Okay.
Bye, guys.